What if the one thing meant to bring you comfort is quietly taking everything away? That's what happened to George, 71, a retired school principal from Oregon. He still had desire, he still loved his wife, but night after night, he found himself alone in the bathroom, chasing a sensation that felt harder and harder to reach. Until one morning, he looked in the mirror and whispered, "Why can't I feel anything anymore?" At first, he thought it was just aging, that this was the price of growing old. But what George didn't know was that the way he had been touching himself, same grip, same speed, same routine from his younger years, was slowly numbing his body. No one ever warned him, no doctor ever mentioned it, and by the time he realized, much of the damage was already done. And George isn't alone. Millions of men over 60 are silently losing their sensitivity, their confidence, even their erections, because of 5 common mistakes no one talks about. This video is not about shame, it's about awareness. Because once you understand what's really happening and how to fix it, you can restore more than just pleasure. You can reclaim your connection, your confidence, your manhood. So, if you're still here, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share may change how you feel about your body forever. His name is Dr. Alan Reyes. For over 32 years, he's been a men's health specialist and urologist, working with veterans, grandfathers, truckers, teachers, men who spent their whole lives strong on the outside, but privately breaking down inside. And after thousands of conversations, one pattern kept showing up. Most older men think they're doing something normal, even healthy. They think, it's just a little release to help me sleep, but beneath that habit lies something far more serious. Because when you're over 60, your body doesn't react the same. Your skin loses elasticity, your blood vessels weaken, your nerves become slower, more delicate. Your prostate, once quiet, becomes more sensitive than ever before. And yet, no one ever taught you how to adapt. No one told you the old methods, gripping tight, rushing fast, ignoring discomfort, could now be causing micro tears, blood restriction, nerve trauma, and ultimately, the slow death of your natural pleasure. Dr. Reyes says this isn't rare. In my clinic, 9 out of 10 men are making at least one of these mistakes and don't even know it. But here's the good news. What's been done can often be undone. If you understand 5 specific mistakes and how to correct them, your body can begin to heal. Not just your penis, but your confidence, your peace of mind, and your connection to yourself and to those you love. So let's walk through this together, because the first mistake may be the most dangerous one of all. When Thomas, a 68-year-old retired firefighter, came into Dr. Reyes' office, he said something that stopped the room cold. "I still get hard, but I don't feel anything anymore." His eyes didn't show shame, just confusion. He had no pain, no injury, nothing that seemed wrong, and yet, his pleasure had gone silent. Dr. Reyes asked him one simple question: "How exactly have you been touching yourself?" Thomas paused, then admitted what many older men eventually confess: tight grip, quick strokes, no real awareness, just doing what he's always done, hoping to feel something again. This is what doctors now call the death grip. And while the name may sound dramatic, the effects are very real. When you squeeze too hard, especially after 60, you risk damaging the very parts of your body responsible for pleasure. Your skin thins with age, your blood vessels become fragile, and, most importantly, your sensory nerves, especially around the head of the penis, become more vulnerable than ever. That tight grip, it restricts blood flow, It causes micro-teeters beneath the surface. It dulls sensation, stroke by stroke, until climax feels like a distant memory. Some men even develop internal scar tissue. Others come in with a curve in their penis, what's known as Peyronie's disease, caused by years of unintentional trauma. The worst part? Most never knew they were doing anything wrong. But here's the truth. What felt normal in your 30 years can become destructive in your 60 years. So what can you do? First, soften your grip. Second, use lubrication. We'll get to that next. And third, slow down. Focus on what your body is telling you, not what you're trying to force it to do. Because the goal now isn't just climax, it's preservation, it's healing. It's about giving your body a chance to feel again, one gentle stroke at a time. I thought it was just a little irritation, until one day, I couldn't ignore the burning anymore. Those were the words of Mr. Walter Jenkins, 72, a retired bus driver from Minnesota. He had always been sexually active, even after retirement. He never smoked, stayed in decent shape, but lately his shaft felt raw, his skin tighter, and the sensitivity he once had, fading fast. When Dr. Reyes examined him, there were no obvious injuries, just years of tiny invisible damage. Walter, like many men, had been masturbating dry, no lotion, no lubricant, just skin on skin, the way he'd done it since he was 16. But here's the truth. After 60, dry masturbation becomes one of the fastest ways to injure your penis without realizing it. Why? Because your skin isn't what it used to be. It's thinner, less elastic, slower to heal. Every dry stroke creates friction, and over time, that friction leads to irritation, microabrasions, and inflammation beneath the surface. Some men start noticing their shaft feels rough. Others feel a constant tightness, like the skin is shrinking. That's not just aging, that's damage. The worst part? Once the skin becomes inflamed, it's more vulnerable to tearing, infection, even internal scarring. But this is one of the easiest mistakes to fix. Use a lubricant. Every single time. Whether it's water-based, silicone, or a gentle natural oil like coconut. Lubrication is not optional anymore. It's protection. It reduces friction, protects your skin, and helps blood circulate more freely, something that becomes even more essential as circulation declines with age. Don't wait until you feel pain. Respect your skin. Honor your sensation. Lubrication isn't just for comfort, it's for keeping pleasure alive. It started as a dull ache, right between the legs. Low, deep, and easy to ignore. Until it wasn't. Mr. David Klein, 70, thought it was just stiffness from sitting too long. But after every climax, he felt pressure, a tightness behind the scrotum, a strange urge to urinate again. Sometimes even a faint burning down his urethra. He assumed it was just part of getting older, but it wasn't. It was his prostate calling for help. And this is one of the most overlooked mistakes men make after 60. They don't pay attention to what their body is telling them, especially after release. The prostate is a walnut-sized gland tucked just below your bladder. It plays a vital role in semen production and is surrounded by nerves and vessels tied to your erections. As you age, that gland becomes more sensitive and more vulnerable. Frequent ejaculation, high pressure, rough stimulation without adequate rest can cause prostate congestion. That means the gland becomes swollen, irritated, and inflamed. This leads to prostatitis, a chronic inflammation that causes discomfort, weakens climax, disrupts urination, and can even affect erection quality over time. Dr. Reyes says it best. When the prostate is inflamed, everything else suffers. Pleasure, performance, peace of mind. And the worst part? It often builds silently until it's hard to reverse. That's why ignoring post-climax feedback is a dangerous gamble. If you feel soreness, pressure, burning, or any sensation that lingers long after orgasm, it's not just age, it's a signal. So what should you do? Start by giving your body rest. Don't rush into back-to-back sessions. Stay hydrated. Practice pelvic floor relaxation, like gentle breathing or light stretching, and above all, listen. Your prostate doesn't speak with words, it speaks with pressure, discomfort, and subtle shifts. If you tune in early, you can prevent years of regret later. I can get hard when I'm alone, but the moment I'm with my wife, nothing happens. That's what Gerald, 67, said during his first visit with Dr. Reyes. His blood work was fine. His testosterone levels weren't low. He even used lubrication, stayed active, and avoided most risky habits. So what was the problem? After a few gentle questions, the answer came to light. Gerald had been watching high-stimulation porn almost every day for over a decade. And this is where most men get blindsided, because it's not just about what your body is doing, it's about how your brain is responding. You see, your brain is designed to adapt. It learns patterns, it chases novelty, and when it's fed a constant stream of ultra-stimulating content, fast edits, extreme visuals, endless variety, it begins to rewire itself. What does that mean? It means the brain gets used to screens instead of skin. It starts reacting more to fantasy than to reality, more to motion than to emotion. Soon, real touch feels boring. Real intimacy becomes harder to enjoy, not because you don't love your partner, but because your brain can't connect the same way anymore. And the longer this continues, the worse it gets. It affects your arousal, your dopamine response, your blood flow, even your ability to bond emotionally. But here's the good news. This can be reversed. Start by taking breaks from porn. Give your mind a reset. Try masturbating without any visual aid. Focus on sensation, on breath, on presence. Retrain your body and brain to respond to what's real, because no screen, no matter how intense, can replace the warmth of true connection. Some men do it before bed, some right after a shower. For many, it's quick, automatic, thoughtless. I just do it so I can fall asleep, said Marvin, 75. I don't even think about it anymore. But when Dr. Reyes asked, "Do you still feel anything when you do?" Marvin hesitated, and then he quietly said, "Not really." This right here is one of the most misunderstood mistakes men over 60 make. They treat masturbation like a routine, a habit, something they rush through without intention. And over time, that mechanical approach begins to erode everything, not just sensitivity, but the entire relationship with your body. Because when you stop being present, you stop noticing tension. You miss signs of strain. You overlook small shifts in pleasure, blood flow, or sensation. But there's another way. What if masturbation wasn't just something you did, but something you practiced? Like meditation, like stretching, like a ritual of connection. What if instead of chasing climax, you explored breath, touch, memory? When you approach self-pleasure with curiosity instead of urgency, something shifts. You heal. You listen. You rediscover sensations that had gone quiet. So tonight, don't rush. Dim the lights, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and treat your body like it matters, because it still does.